women suffer in silence. And I decided not to suffer in silence. I wanted to find out what was going on with me because it wasn't. Unfortunately, myself and my daughters saw that side of it. We lived that side of it. And I'm so grateful now that God brought me through, because only God stuck by me and brought me through. Because it had got to the point where I had a plan to commit suicide. I had signed myself into a mental ward, 24-hour hold at a hospital, because I was so fearful that I wasn't going to make it to the next day.
Hi, and welcome to another season and another episode of the Woman Witness podcast on the Woman Witness TV network. I'm your host, Leah Fortier. Here on this platform, we bring to you voices of dynamic women that are out there making a positive impact in their lives, in their family, and the community around them. Women of resilience, women of faith, women who have battled through something, and they are bold enough, strong enough to turn around, grab the hand of another sister, and be a witness. Today, I am so excited to be joined by a powerhouse of a guest, someone who has spent over 15 years helping brands and helping others tell their story. And now my guest today, Miss Eula Guest, is here to tell her own. Miss Eula is a former owner of a successful video marketing company and now leads the guest management where strategy meets impact. You've probably seen her on MSNBC's Education Nation and WABC's Here and Now and across media platforms everywhere, building awareness of raw personalities and realities of postpartum depression, narcissistic abuse. And she also leads workshops, and she sat on business panels and stood center stage at women's conferences all over. I am so excited to bring our two-time co-author guest who has written Through the Fire, Women's Stories of Courage and Resiliency, and Rising Above Narcissistic Abuse, From Fearful to Fearless, Volume 3. I'm so excited to introduce to you my guest today, Miss Eula Guest. Hi, Miss Eula. How are you today?
Hi, Miss Leah. I am wonderful. I woke up. I'm doing good. God is good.
Amen. And all the time. Amen.
Mm-hmm.
I am just blown away with all that you have done to bring awareness to the conversation that we're going to be talking about today, which is narcissistic abuse. I'm interested in hearing a little bit of your background. How did you get into this field? How did you grace so many stages talking about this topic and many more, from postpartum depression to narcissistic abuse? So without me telling your whole story, I want to give you the floor and just introduce yourself a little bit to us and let us know how you got into the field that you're in.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate being on this network and bringing light to a lot of issues that are not talked about in our community. Postpartum depression, unfortunately, I had with my last daughter, very severe postpartum depression to the point where I was having visions of drowning her. So it had got to the point where I couldn't bathe her. I wouldn't bathe her because I was so fearful that I was going to drown her. And so for the first year of her life, her father bathed her and put her in water and washed her and stuff because I was just fearful. And I knew it wasn't normal. And I had children prior to her, and I had postpartum depression before, but not on that level. So I seeked out help. And fortunately, I found help in my community that partnered me with another woman that was an expert in that field. And we started a women's group, and we really delve into how women are afraid to come forward and tell people, I'm having visions of drowning my baby. Because first thing you're worried they're going to take your child away.
Yeah.
Or they're going to put you in a mental institution, or they're going to put you on drugs. So women suffer in silence. And I decided not to suffer in silence. I wanted to find out what was going on with me because it wasn't normal. And I bathed my other children, and I bathed cousins and nieces and stuff. But then when it came to my own baby, I was terrified. And so I finally found out what was going on. She was almost 9 months old. The most I could do for her was breastfeed her. I was able to do that without fear. But everything else with, changing her diaper and bathing her, I couldn't do it. So I'm grateful to that organization that unfortunately is no longer around. They really helped me so much with putting a handle on it, dealing with it, even did a little therapy for a little while to get through that time of my life. And my daughter, she's 24 now.
Oh, wow. Man, thank you for sharing that story and being vulnerable and sharing it because as you say, when a lot of us women suffer in silence. We don't know how to ask for help. And yes, some of those fears that you mentioned, are they going to take my kid? Are they going to, am I going to be received? And some of us go without getting help. So thank you for like putting it into perspective that so many women who could be battling this, they can actually maybe perhaps see themselves and seek help for themselves. So thank you so much for sharing that. How did you get to that point where you decided to take on this, the other leg of your business and of your ministry, which is narcissistic abuse?
Well, unfortunately, with my second marriage, I realized at the end of it that something wasn't right.
Mm,
The behaviors, a lot of things wasn't right. And God was telling me to get out. Like he literally was telling me to get out.
mm,
And he knew what was going on. I didn't know. He sees everything. We don't
yeah.
see everything. And almost 30 years in, I'm like, why am I getting out? Why am I, I'm talking back and forth with God. Why am I getting out? And he's clearly telling me more than one time, you need to leave this. You need to get out.
Yeah.
And finally, it had come to a point where he did some things. And I said, this is it. I'm done. I can't do it anymore.
Mm,
And now I'm on the tail ends of a divorce and reliving my life and starting over at 67 now. And it's been quite a journey, but writing about what happened in my life, writing about the things that went on that I didn't have a name for or label for what I was going through. You go through things that everybody knows about physical abuse,
yeah.
but nobody talks about mental abuse,
No.
manipulative abuse,
Mm,
narcissistic abuse. Is never you never hear about that. And a lot of people are living it. Kudos to all the women that told their stories, some horrific stories,
mm,
and they're battling back and they're getting themselves back and they're thriving and growing. But it's been a challenge because you tell people, and most of these people, and I'm gonna say men because all the women wrote in the book. So most of these men
okay.
are
Mm,
people in the community that are well received, well respected. Nobody sees that side of them. And so when you tell people this is what I lived through, it's hard for a lot of people to believe it because they never seen that side of it. And,
right.
unfortunately,
Mm,
myself and my daughters saw that side of it. We lived that side of it. And I'm
mm,
so grateful now that God brought me through because only God
mm,
stuck by me and brought me through. Because it had got to the point where I had a plan to commit suicide.
mm,
I had signed myself into a mental ward, 24-hour hold at a hospital because I was so fearful that I wasn't going to make it to the next day.
mm, mm,
And talking to a psychiatrist the next day and him telling me what you're feeling, what you're going through is normal. You had shock, you're being shocked, you're being traumatized. Of course, you're going to feel defeated. I'm not going to put you on medication, but I suggest you seek therapy. And immediately, I did that immediately. And I'm so grateful to my
mm,
therapist because she has been such a rock helping me navigate all the emotions, all the anger, all the grief. Because it's grief when you divorce somebody and when you
absolutely.
separate from someone, it's grief. And we don't look at it as grief because the person is still alive, but it's grief.
Yeah,
So, following the
absolutely.
grieving process and doing the homework, there was a lot of homework involved to help me navigate my new normal. And I'm so grateful now that I'm on this side. I can tell my story because
Amen.
originally, when I was asked, I wasn't going to tell my story.
Mm,
I was too embarrassed. I was ashamed. Who wants to admit that they thought about suicide?
mm,
It's
mm,
very hard to admit that. And I'm one of the people who decided to tell my story and not just kill myself and everybody's wondering what happened.
No, amen. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for being vulnerable again and opening up about that. And you're right. That is one of those stories or one of those confessions that we don't want to talk about, but it's reality is what some of us are battling. And I want to ask you, what gave you the courage to start speaking out publicly about something so personal?
I have 3 daughters. The oldest is 42. She'll be 40. I gotta stop and think now. She's gonna be 42, I believe, in September. The middle one just turned 38, and the youngest is 24. And I wanted them to see a mother who can go through stuff and could come out through the other side, and to have faith in God and be connected to God and to pray and to know that we all go through stuff. Some of us talk about our stuff, some of us don't. Some of us go to our graves never talking about the hurt and pain we've been through. Yeah. I didn't want my daughters to think it's okay to hold that stuff in, to let it out, to pray it out, to talk it out, to cry it out, to scream it out if you have to, but get it out and move on and navigate your life. And you could do it at any age.
I love how you just put that into perspective. It doesn't matter how old our children are, or that whoever is looking up to us to create new generational blessings is what I say, or break generational curses and live a life that they can live out loud. I love how you said that, and you did that for your daughters. I think so often some of us, we stay, and I don't know, Miss Eula, I don't know if it's just an old school thing, but you always used to hear, I used to always hear my grandparents like, oh, just stick it on out. They would tell my mom, just stick it on out. And, but sometimes sticking it on out, doesn't look good at the end. And then for those who are watching what is going on, we end up repeating that same cycle. So I love that you said that and it put into perspective. So some of us can even start looking at our lives and saying, my kids is watching this. What can I do differently? In your journey from just surviving, just making it day to day. What was some of the turning points that help you reclaim your voice?
I would say, number one, God. I'm going to say it a lot. I'm going to say it like, I would not be here without him. So I'm trying not to get emotional about that, but he's brought me through a lot. God, my family. Yeah. Very good sister friends who rallied around me from the beginning, who has been there throughout the marriage and after the marriage and before the marriage, has rallied around me and said, I love you. What can I do? Not only just my sister friends, but really close friends, and even some of their children who I watched grow up call me or say, what can I do? You need something, Miss Eula? That was the turning point for me, that to know I had a support system out there. And every day, without fail, at least 2 or 3 of these people will text me or call me a day. Even now, and it's going on 18 months now, they will still check in. You all right? You okay? Or DM me on social media platforms. You okay? What do you need today? You need me? You need me to call? Let's go hang out. Let's go to dinner. That's so important.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that's so important. And hold on, could I just back up? You said, but God. I was just talking to a friend and we were talking about some of those earlier years. And we're like, how did I not get sucked up in this? How did I not, become a victim of that? Or how did I get out of some of the things that I was in? How was I invisible to the enemy? Because I know that I was there, right? And I started to think about it. We were just, chatting back and forth, but God will hide us. He will keep us. We can go back and we will look at our lives and be like, how did I survive this? And I felt that so deeply when you said, but God, when God will pull you through, hide you and keep you and give you a story to tell. Oh, I felt that deeply. Many women do suffer in silence. What do you wish more people understood about your experience and about your story?
I would say, first of all, you have to know your core. who you are. Because a lot of people get into relationships, they really don't know who their core is, who they are. You know, they put on masks, they wear masks all the time to the point where they don't know who they are. They know what they portray to the masses or to the outside world. So you have to know your core. You have to know what you're going to take and tolerate and what you will not. And stick to your deal breakers. If a person hits you once and your deal breaker is not to hit you again, walk away. Walk away. Yeah, it's tough. I'm starting over. And I'm a senior now, considered a senior. I don't think of myself a senior, but
No,
I'm considered a
no, you're
senior.
not.
So walk away. Walk
Yeah.
away. You know, I realized the last few conversations that I had with my husband that I was over it. I said I can't support anymore because I lost myself. I lost my voice. I didn't even know who I was anymore. You know, that happy spiritual person I was overshadowed by grief and pain, and it wasn't just physical pain, it was gut wrenching, somebody trying to pull my soul from outside, from inside out, pain. I never felt a pain like that in my life. And I said, God, get me through this. I will never make these mistakes again. You got to realize the red flags and you got to realize the green flags. You got to know who you are and you got to know what you're going to tolerate, what you're not. And never go back. I don't care if they come back and say, I'm sorry, bring you flowers, bring you jewelry. No, because they'll pull you in and do it again. And once a person think they can get away with one thing, they'll do something else and they'll go up and up and up.
What is it, Miss Eula? Is it, and talk to me about the different types of narcissistic, right? You know, the mind games, the making you feel like you crazy, the gaslighting. Talk to me about some of those things. How deep can we get stuck into that quicksand, if you will?
Well, the thing is, people love, and they find people who love hard. You know, they're going to give their all, going to fight for it, going to work it out. Unfortunately, you're not realizing that's part of the game. So pull you in and have you dependent on that love. And they give you a little bit, then they take it away. Give you a little bit and take it away. You know, and you're wondering, well, what am I doing wrong? You have to look at the behaviors. You got to pay attention to the behaviors. And I kept a journal for a long time and I started writing stuff down because a lot of stuff didn't make sense to me. And I was married before. This was my second marriage. It's not my first marriage. So the things that went on the first marriage kind of mimicking a lot of the second marriage, except for the physical abuse. But it was all abuse. It's all abuse.
Yeah.
And after I realized that this is abusive, you're gaslighting me, you're manipulating me, you're trying to pull me in with stories and stuff that only you understand and make sense. I don't make sense. So I got to the point now where there's no contact at all. I don't text. I blocked him on all my social media. If he comes in the house, because we still share a house together, there's no conversation. There's no talking. Talk to your lawyer. I talk to my lawyer. That's it. Because I realized that's part of the manipulation. You know, the tears and I'm sorry. You know, no, you're not. You had 30 years to get it right. So, no. And I waited too long. I'll tell people in a minute, I waited way too long. I should have left a long time ago.
That's good. I love what you said. You waited too long because sometimes we feel, and this is going to lead to my next topic. But before I say this, sometimes I think we feel like, you know, this is what God wants us to do, right? We gave our vows. We said yes. I can understand that just walking away is not an option. Tell me a little bit about when you say you stayed too long. When did you know that long was long enough?
I think the first time we bought this house in 2018. The first time I heard God literally in the house, I was the only one in the house, say out loud, you got to get out, was 2019. I was in the house a year. And I'm saying, we just bought a house together. We got property together. What's going on? And literally, I heard him say out loud, you got to get out of this house. And making excuses in my head, like, what are you talking about?
The devil.
So God let me go ahead and be me. A year later after that, he said it again. You need to get out of this house. not thinking that he sees stuff that I'm not seeing. He's hearing stuff that I'm not hearing. And I just, well, we got this property and we got our daughter and she's graduating, she's going to college, yada, 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 making all these excuses. And the third time he told me, I said to myself, I need to really stop and listen. And I knew right after that, that's when I found out some things. He came and told me some stuff. And I said, I'm done. I'm done. I can't. You have to protect your own heart. If you don't protect your heart, you don't protect your spirit, nobody else will. And I had got to the point where I needed to self-preservate. I needed to preserve my own life, my own heart. Because I don't think I would have made it out alive if I didn't.
Listening to that voice of God, and he will protect us. And you know, that prayer, that constant keeping our ear to him, staying close so we can hear his voice. I want to ask you, how has your faith shaped the woman that you are today, both personally and also professionally, you know, building your ministry? How has your faith shaped it?
Well, I found my voice. That's number one. Number two, I don't make any decisions now without asking God first. I used to make decisions and then think about it later. Now I pray to God, this is what's going on. This is, even if people offer me different projects and stuff, I don't accept anything without asking God first. He, you know, Lord, please direct my steps. Please tell me if this is a good thing for me or a bad thing for me. When I meet people, if they coming into my life in a certain way, I ask God about it. Is this person good for me? Is this person right for me? Should I continue or not? It's the first thing I go to. Pray every morning, meditate every morning, read the Bible every morning, and talk to God every morning before I leave this house. And stay connected. And if I forget, which is a rare, you know, thing, if I'm running late and I'm rushing out the house, when I get to where I'm going, pull out my Bible app and read the Bible.
Yeah.
Spend time meditating and talking to God. I have to do it.
Was there ever a specific moment in your life where you truly had to lean on God in a way that you never have done before? And if so, what did that look like?
The suicide thoughts. And I know now that was the enemy trying to get me to destroy myself. I already felt defeated, and that little voice comes in, yeah, well, go ahead, you know, where's God at in all of this? You know, telling you all these negative thoughts. And that's when I had to pray to him and say, listen, I cannot do this alone. I can't. I need your help. I need you to uplift me. I need you to hold me up in your hands. And he told me, my child, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. And once I heard that, I knew I could go through anything else.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Oh, God will speak to us and hold us and keep us. And, you know, the enemy is so good, because that is his number one goal, is to keep us from getting to where God wants to bring us, to keep your story from getting out there so other women listening will be able to take it and break free. And, you know, I love, even though that you said that you're starting over at 67 years young, you know, and some women feel like, you know what, I'm 67, I might as well go ahead and stay. I might as well go ahead and just stay in it. And by you telling your story, by you, God freeing you and getting you out of it, it gives hope to other women that they can, and there's better around the corner. I get passionate about this. Let me ask you, in your times of pain, from dealing with postpartum depression, from dealing with the narcissistic abuse, and, you know, going through your divorce now, how did your relationship with God truly evolve?
Once I made the decision that I'm going to start being closer to him, connected to him, I find that things that used to come to me in my dreams, like I would get future dreams and seeing stuff, now I see it when I'm awake. I feel it when I'm awake. I'm more in tune to the universe now. I'll tell you a quick story. I was talking to one of my coworkers in the bathroom, and, you know, I had my back to the door, and the doors are very heavy doors. And God said, move to the right. And I didn't question it. I moved to the right. As soon as I stepped, the door opened.
Mm.
So it's like little things like that.
Oh,
And it's
yeah.
happening all the time. I was I take the express bus into the city to go to work. When I was going home, I said, you know what? I haven't seen this particular truck in a while. It's a truck. I forgot what products they sell, but it's a truck and they have pink pigs on it. And
Mm.
I'm sitting there and I'm looking out the window listening to my music, my gospel music. And I said, I haven't seen that truck in a while. And right after I thought it, two of them pink trucks passed by. So
Yeah.
it's being in tune and connected now to things that's really awesome. And even my youngest daughter, we had a conversation the other day. She said, Mommy, since I left the house, things come to me so much clearer now. And I said, yeah, because now the blockage is gone.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's it right there. I love hearing your excitement and when God begins to show you things. And what does the Bible says? He loves those who seek him and seek him daily and
Yes.
chase after that. And, I always say I love when God shows me something. Oh, it gets me so excited. It's almost like you're sitting on the edge of your seat waiting to see what else he's going to reveal to you. If you're, like you said, if your ears close to him, you're quiet and you're silent enough and you have given your all to him, he will show you himself in every little thing. And I love that he's even shown himself in your daughter's life as well.
Mm-hmm.
That self-doubt and that battling back to regain your strength and your new identity outside of your marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to us about how that process truly helped shape the woman that you are now.
Well, one of the things that I do is I keep a journal. I also keep lists. I make a lot of lists. And I make future lists and bucket lists and all kind of different lists. And I just go down the list. The first year we were separated, I bought a plane ticket and went to Ontario, Canada by myself. Never traveled by myself.
Mm.
Went on a plane, went to the airport by myself, got to
Mm.
TSA by myself, got a
Yeah.
plane and stayed there for 3 days and 2 nights and just had a blast, had a ball. It was such an adventure. It was so exciting. And after that, I came back. I went to a women's retreat in Connecticut and just hung out with some awesome women.
Yeah.
And I recently told the organizer of that I had been plotting to commit suicide. She didn't know. But she knew when I went to her retreat that I was depressed. She said, I saw that you were quiet and you sat to yourself. She said, I knew you weren't okay.
Yeah.
But she said, to see you now, it's like you're a different person. Because now I'm happy. I'm happy and I'm happy with God. I'm happy with myself. I'm happy with the people that surrounds me now. My core village that I call them that got my back. And they could be in Paris with their husband on honeymoon. They'll text me real quick. You okay?
Yeah.
That's the kind of village you can't buy. You can't buy those kind of people. Those are the people who got your back for life.
Yeah. How much did fear play in you not doing these things before? Were you fearful of booking a trip and flying or, going to a women's retreat, taking time to yourself? What was it that kept you from doing it before?
That's a good question. I would say a whole lot of things. When you're a couple, you tend to always do stuff as a couple. I never really did a lot of stuff alone. Once in a blue moon, I would go out with my girlfriends. We'd go to dinner and stuff like that. But actually going on trips alone and spending time alone, I didn't do that. I was an entrepreneur, ran a business. We had a teenage daughter at the time. We were looking for a house. So many things came into play that I just didn't take that time for myself. Now I take that time for myself.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm so proud of myself for that. And I fight myself every once in a while, like, do I want to go to Jamaica by myself? I still fight it from time to time, but then I just buy the ticket. I'm like, I'm going.
Yeah, I gotta go. I have to go. And I love it. I love what you said too. And can I just give like a little a little food for thought for some of the women who are listening. And I'd love for you to chime in on this too, Miss Eula, because I do think that sometimes we get lost. And, if you're a mother raising young children and, you are that couple and, it's kind of hard to get away. The first time I heard, I believe it was Bishop T.D. Jakes, he had a conference, and it was the first conference I've ever went to by myself. By myself. He said, I don't care if you got to go by yourself. And I was like, well, I don't want to be weird and go by myself. Yeah. I went by myself one year. I met so many amazing people. I went again. I went to different women's retreats. I started doing things by myself, not realizing that sometimes God will have to set you apart, put you by yourself so he can speak to you. And fill you back up so you can go back and give that love and that attention and what your family needs. So I love that. If you want to chime in on that, Ms. Eula, I would love for you to add to it if you like.
I totally agree. I think that we as women, this society kind of put too much burden on us to be everything for everybody all the time.
Yeah.
And they never talk about women. Now they'll say that for men, that men need to get away, go hunting or whatever.
Right.
But they don't do that for women. And women are the backbone of the family. And we need to have time to ourselves. Even in the beginning, I would rent out a hotel room and stay in a hotel for 2 days and just take a nice long bubble bath, and hear that quiet and that peace. We have to set time for ourselves. It's a must. Just like you have to take a shower, you have to feed your kids, you have to take time for yourself. You have to.
Yes. Oh, I could not agree more. I want to ask you, were there any specific verses or scriptures that kept you going, gave you strength in some of those darkest moments? If so, would you like to share?
There's 3 of them. The surrender prayer, Psalms 91 and Psalms 23. Read those every single day. Every single day. And it feeds my soul.
Yeah. Psalms 91, Psalms 23, and the surrender prayer. Google it and put it in the comments for us to listen to. From when I hear you saying that, surrender is saying, God, I surrender. I have no control over what is going on with me right now. I know that Psalms 23 shows exactly where you are. I am walking through this valley, the shadow of death, the shadow. And I know that God will not leave me. He will prepare a table. Psalms 91. To remind me what the Psalms 91 is. I can't let it go real quick. Hold on.
Now you put me on the spot. Much as I know.
I know. Don't you worry, because I gotta know. Hold on. I'm sorry. I do this often. Right. I do this often because I always feel that God gives us. He speaks through us, even these conversations, even if you're listening. Oh, the security of one who trusts the Lord. Oh, those who dwell in the shelter of the Most High. Yes, that's it. I knew it. That is all about peace, protection, and guidance. Letting God know, God, I surrender. I give you everything. You know the shadows that I walk through, and I will dwell in the shelter of the Most High. Okay. Everybody take this for yourself. Look, he said, I will give you your daily bread. So take it for yourself. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. I want you to talk to some of the women listening today. What would you say to them for those who are questioning God in the middle of their pain? What would you say to them?
I would say God didn't put us on this earth to be abused. In any kind of way, physically, mentally, emotionally. He didn't put us on here for that. He gave us a purpose, and he wants us to fulfill that purpose. And if someone is blocking that purpose, they are not for you. Plain and simple. If you want to volunteer at a women's shelter and your partner or your husband says, well, why are you doing that? You don't have to do that. You got enough to do at home. They're blocking you. God is telling you he wants you to go and do that. Is a reason why he's sending you to the shelter to do that. We don't know his plan at the time. Like when I started going through my journey, I didn't know I was going to be co-author of 2 books talking about this topic. I didn't know I was going to be on podcasts. I didn't know I was going to be on TV. I didn't know I was going to be talking at women conferences about this topic. It just snowballed. And that was God's plan for me. That's his assignment for me now, is to speak out and to let women know that there's another life outside of this, and you'll be much happier if you follow God's assignment and his purpose for you.
Wow. That is so good. And you're absolutely, God gave you a ministry out of what he brought you from. Never would you ever thought that in a million years?
No. I was happy talking about postpartum depression.
Yeah.
I didn't think I was going to have to talk about, this kind of stuff, but, God has a plan, and that's my assignment, and he wants me to follow it.
How can women begin to rebuild their faith after trauma or betrayal? Because as you said, it is something that you have to work through.
It's a process. And everybody's in different stages of that process. So I would say, to begin with, find that favorite Bible quote that you like. Write it down in your journal, print it out and put it on your wall. Read it every day, read it every morning. Affirmations, say spiritual affirmations to yourself. Write it down, put it up on a mirror. Say it to yourself when you're putting on your makeup in the morning. And after a while, it'll become something that's second nature to you. You'll automatically do it. And I would say, don't blame God, because we made he gives us free will. We made these decisions to pick and marry who we pick and marry. Sometimes God will say, that's not it, but we were like, oh, I love him, God, and not listening, not paying attention to those red flags. So pay attention to those red flags. Don't blame God. Build that relationship with him, because I'm pretty sure there's plenty of people that's angry with him about stuff that happened in life. But you got to take ownership of it. You have to take ownership of it. I took ownership of it very early, that, I made the decision to stay. When you told me to get out, he told me to get out. And I made the decision to stay. So when I got deeply hurt, who can I blame? I can't blame him.
That's good. That's good. We can sit right there for a minute, because you're absolutely right about a lot of that, and just taking that ownership and knowing, all right, God, I know you told me. That's a big step right there. It almost I was doing some studying between King Saul and King David, and the difference between the two is King David repented when he was found out. He repented. All right, God, you're right. I messed up. Or King Saul gave excuses. He gave excuses. Now it was the people. It was this. It was that. And he just kept messing up. I love that. Okay, I told you we could sit there. That's good. That's really good. I want you to talk to us about your books and where we can find them.
Well, both books are on Amazon.
Yeah.
And the individual authors have their own sites. My site is not up yet, because I've been doing so much touring and talking and stuff. I haven't had a chance to build my website. And you can get an autographed copy from the authors from their specific book sites. But you can get it on Amazon right away if you want to.
Okay, perfect. And I will definitely leave the link in the description below. And you are co-author of 2 books. And if they put your name in, Ms. Eula, will they be able to pull up the book?
Sure. Should be able to come up.
Okay. So if you put
the name it's on my Facebook and Instagram pages as well. So.
Oh, the link. Okay, perfect. And I'll go ahead and I'll add that in there. And then for those who want to get in touch with you, maybe to have you speak at a conference or speak in their women's group, what is the best way for them to get in contact with you to do that?
Sure. My business email is guestmanagement276@gmail.com, or they can call me and text me at 347-224-7045.
Perfect. And I'll leave that information in the description below. This is what being a witness is all about, getting these raw stories out there of women who have battled through some of the darkest moments, and God has brought them out to be a witness so you can get out of whatever moment that you are in. Before I let you go, Miss Eula, I want to ask you, what does it mean to be a witness for other women through the lens of faith?
It's leading the charge, so to speak. It's like being a general, and you're telling the women to come on, let's go. Just be an example, living by example. If I can go through this at this age and make it to the other side and still be connected to God, so can you. 24, 34, 44. You can do it too. Pain is pain, whether it's the physical, mental, emotional. Pain is pain. And unfortunately, in this life, we're going to go through pain sooner or later. So I would say be connected to God, because He will lift you up when that pain comes, and it'll make it lighter. It may not feel like it at that moment, but trust me, it will make it lighter. And you will go through stuff, and the other person will try to put you through stuff because they're angry that you decided you want to get out. And that's a whole nother book that'll be coming out next year.
I know that's right.
Well, it's what they put you through because they don't have that control over you anymore.
Yeah.
So you just have to decide. I don't care what they do. This is where I'm going. This is where I'm headed.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Miss Eula, for coming on and pouring at this well. Look, you just prophesied that next book is coming. So we want to hear we want to hear that. Keep us updated with what you are doing, what new books that you're doing, any new ventures. We would love to stay in contact with you. Thank you for coming pouring at this well. And I love leaving conversations where I know that people will be filled and they will be able to, as you said, lead the charge of their own. That was good. Okay. Before I let you go, Miss Eula, did you want to leave anything else at this well?
Just pray. Yeah. Ask God. Talk to God. God will help you if you ask Him. He's waiting for you to ask. And whatever decisions you're trying to make, talk to Him about it. He will light that way for you. He will light that path for you.
That is so good. Yes, ma'am. All right. Thank you so much for coming and pouring at this well. Ladies, I want to thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Woman Witness podcast on the Woman Witness TV network. I'm your host, Leah Fortier. I want to thank my guest, Miss Eula Guest. Thank you so much for coming in and pouring. Follow her, like on all social media. Don't forget to subscribe to the Woman Witness podcast. We are on YouTube. We are on Fire TV. We are on Roku. We are everywhere that podcasts are played. So make sure that you are subscribed so you do not miss an episode. All right. And perhaps you were chosen for such a time as this to tell your story, your truth. Until next time. Bye, y'all.